Bonjour fragrance lovers, this is Clémence. I talk about fragrance and welcome back. Before we start the video, please subscribe to my channel, leave a little like, leave a comment if you like, because this video took me a long time to create, so I will appreciate your support. Thank you. Today we're talking about the drama about Gucci. There's murder, jealousy, there's passion, and money, of course. What would be a story without money? Back in the days, like the newspaper were on fire when they were talking about this story, and I thought it would be really nice to give you in Fragrance Academy a little bit more insight about the fragrance house, designer house and stuff like that, because there's a lot of things to say. And after that I will give you my top 5 Gucci fragrances. For now, let's talk about the drama. I will introduce in general the house, because I think you need a little bit more insight to understand what's going on after, because there's a lot of family business. It's, you know, the mess. So, okay, bear with me, it's gonna be a long video. And just to let you know, I got this idea of a video because there's gonna be a movie very soon. I think it's like in mid-November, directed by Ridley Scott. There's Lady Gaga in there and Adam Driver, so I think it's gonna be amazing. Let's talk about Gucci in general now. An Italian luxury fashion brand, of course, based in Florence. They go everything from handbag to leather good to ready-to-wear, everything. Even home decoration. It was created 100 years ago, can you imagine? In 1921. Very important date, fragrance lovers, because it's the launch of number 5, so kind of an iconic note, and it's been just 100 years this year. It's created by GUCCI. GUCCI. You're gonna see a lot of this. Sorry, Italian people. I can't help it. You know, like French, as French we do that as well, so sorry. But really the firm was under the direction of his son Aldo. Remember the name, because trust me, there's gonna be a lot of names. The Gucci family, it's a mess. Quite funny for me, because I remember back in the day when I was a teenager in France, like Gucci was a little bit vulgar. It was not really classy. But now I really see it differently. I think there was a change of direction. I will talk about that. It's much more like geek chic type of vibe, like super opulent, luxurious vibe that is much more classier than it used to be to me. Let's talk about the history now. So in 1921, GUCCI created the brand by creating leather goods. So usually designer, they start with something else, like for example Chanel, they start with the hats. Well, it starts with leather goods. 35 is quite an important date because this is the invasion of Ethiopia by Mussolini. Mussolini, not a very nice guy. Because of that, there's a trade embargo in Italy. So basically all ingredients or materials like leather are quite rare and not easy like to export. So he decided to create something else and work with different materials. Jute, linen, wood, for example, that are introduced in the fashion. And that's where Gucci created his signature, the rhombi motif. In Gucci house, all the family is working. Everyone works for the business. The wife, the children, everyone. But the son of Guccio is really the businessman of the company. He organized everything. That's him that decided to expand the business back in Rome. Hey daddy, why don't we have a shop in Rome? Oh yeah, sure. We're approaching the war right now, World War II. All the artisans of Gucci are actually working to create boots for the soldiers, Italian soldiers. It's usually what happened. We know that Hugo Boss did work also for soldiers. Other reasons, but anyway. After the war, Gucci separated the ownership of the brand for his 3 sons. So there's Aldo, Rodolfo, and Vasco. I love that name, Vasco. And in 1953, unfortunately, Gucci died, so that's where the mess is gonna happen. The year Gucci died, they opened their stores in US, so it's really started to explode. It's on the 5th Avenue, it's amazing. In 1961, London. In 1963, Paris exploded. Great date for us. 1972, the first perfume was created, Il Mio Profumo. And that's in the 1980s that basically all the drama, the family drama happened. But it kind of already started a bit earlier on, because back in 1969, like Aldo decided to create his own Gucci boutique, separate from the Gucci brand. Yeah, I'm gonna do a boutique, but not associated with Gucci, but with the name Gucci, of course, because that my name is Gucci. So the family is not really happy about that. And a few years after, actually, like they re-include this boutique into the group. But yeah, they didn't really like the initiative. It's probably a family thing that they all want to have their own business. But the son of Aldo actually also decided to create something on Gucci, create Gucci Plus, the group. They didn't really like that neither. In 1983, the brother of Aldo, Rodolfo, dies. Rodolfo's son, remember, one of the brother, is Mauricio. And Mauricio takes a huge part into the business. Before he used to be Aldo, kind of. Now it's Mauricio. He loved the business, he's going in there. And he inherited nearly everything. He basically started to launch a legal war against Waldo, his uncle. Yes. Legal war with the uncle. Amazing. Great family. He wants the full control of Gucci. This family is all about ego trip and a lot of money. It's a shame what can do money, to be honest. 1996, at the age of 81, Aldo dies. So, front control for Mauricio. When he died, he only had 60% of the part of Gucci, really, so there's nothing much left for Aldo anyway. The one who wanted to control everything didn't control much at the end. Oh, did I mention as well that Aldo was sentenced to a year in prison for tax evasion? Back in those days, everything is not under control. Under Mauricio, they lose a lot of money. Gucci Galleria, very famous for artwork and everything that is liquidated. So it's not really nice for Gucci during those years. 1988, Mauricio, seeing that he's losing millions, so he sells 50% of his part of the company to Investcorp. It's a big finance group, basically. The family didn't like that neither, especially the wife. Mauricio is blamed for everything because basically they said that he's putting all his money to the headquarters to live like that luxury kind of vibe, that Dolce Vita life. 1993, he gave back last 50% to Investcorp's Gucci brand is now owned by the Gucci family, which is a big family, and for some people in the family it was a bit unbearable. So 2 years after, Mauricio got shot dead. Yeah. He was going to work suddenly and he got shot. By who? That's the question. Who decided to shoot him? Let me tell you right now, is the ex-wife Patrizia Reggiani. Sorry for my Italian pronunciation. She was sentenced to 60 years in prison. Well, a bit more technically, but she spent 60 years in prison. Patricia, the ex-wife, apparently did that. Let me tell you a bit more about that Patricia. They had 2 children together, Gra and Alessandra. The dad of Mauricio, Rodolfo, he didn't approve at all this relationship and this wedding, because he said Patricia, quoting, was a social climber who has nothing in mind but money. But basically their wedding is going amazing according to Patricia at the beginning, but then in 1995, Mauricio decided to go to Florence. He will never come back. Hey Patricia, I'm going to Florence. Never come back. So she's not really happy, you can imagine. 5 years before he dies, he's dating someone else, which is Paola Franchi. They are childhood friends, and basically they're planning to marry each other before he dies. He's still married to Patricia, so he's a bit of a mess, and in 1994 he finally divorced from Patricia. 1 year after, apparently Patricia couldn't bear that and she shot him down. But she shot him down herself? No. She hired a hitman to do it. She's convicted in 1998, so during 3 years she was all free. Apparently a motive in that was a mixture of jealousy, money and resentment. For me, it's a lot of money in that situation, to be honest. She wanted basically the control over Gucci's estate. She wanted everything. And she didn't want his husband as well to marry someone else. If he would have married Frankie, she would have lost half of her fortune. His alimony would be cut in half. She always claimed her innocence, and she basically put the blame on her best friend. Oh, what a lovely friend, oh my god. She got interviewed from a journalist, and they were asking her, but Patricia, why did you hire a hitman to kill Maurizio Gucci? Why didn't you shoot him himself? And she actually answered, my eyesight is not so good, I didn't want to miss. Maybe she wanted to do that as a joke, but honestly, when she was incarcerated in prison, she could have been liberated in parole, but with only condition from the tribunal that she would find a work. She didn't want to be released because for her it was unbearable to work, and she said, I've never worked in life and I don't intend to start now. I don't like her, I'm not gonna lie. She's basically the head of the master plan. They also found out during the trial that she had openly threatened Mauricio to death after they split, some of the phone calls were recorded. Well, they find the recording, and she was actually planning everything with her best friend. She was furious with Mauricio selling out the company. She actually said herself, I still feel like a Gucci, in fact the most Gucci of them all. With the ego of the lady. Who was Patricia really? Where did she come from? Maybe, you know, you can explain this ego trip going on. She was born in Milan. Her mom was a waitress and her dad was kind of like a rich man. He made fortune in trucking. Rich family, but not really high class, you know what I mean? Like, they were not in high society. They were rich, but you know, money does not do everything, Patricia. She's spoiled by her daddy during a year. Like, the daddy is buying her like a mink coat. I hate her for that. And fast cars, so Dolce Vita, Patricia. She actually met Mauricio in a party. She said herself, he fell madly in love with me. I was exciting and different. He chased her during many years, and basically they got married at 24. Mauricio felt free with me. We had fun and we were a team. When the business is crashing down in the 1980s, like when they start to lose millions because of Mauricio, it doesn't go well anymore. She said herself that Mauricio got crazy after he lost that 50% part into Gucci for Intercard. He stopped listening to her, so she was not really happy. I was angry with Mauricio about many things, but above all this, losing the family business. He was stupid, a failure. I was filled with rage, but there was nothing I could do. He shouldn't have done what he'd done to me. It's not her business, you know, and she said, what he's done to me. I'm like, well, it's his, you know. All this frustration, everything, a little bit of insecurities for me in there. Heads up with 3 shots in Gucci's back and he died in the hand of the doorman. Patricia basically was the best suspect. Police didn't even really suspect it Frankie, the actual girlfriend of Mauricio back in these days, because she actually left her ex-husband that was much richer than Mauricio to go with Mauricio, so there was no money deal in there. Like, and they were actually good together. Apparently she was very chatty, she was quick to laugh, she was, you know, that kind of lady, so really different than Patricia. And talking about the best friend, Spinia Oyema, she confessed arranging the hitman, basically. So she arranged it, but she was not the brain. She said herself that Patricia couldn't bear Mauricio to marry someone else. Frankie said that actually Patricia during those days was stalking them, and she even said on the phone, and this was recorded, to Mauricio that the inferno will come to you. That is not the worst to me. A few days after Mauricio's murder, Patricia is actually evicting Frankie from the apartment she was living in with Gucci. She had basically no right, as she was not married with him. Patricia was in the right to move her out. So what a lovely lady. She moved out, and a few days after, she moved in this apartment with her children. He paid £200,000 to Pina to hire the hitman. Anyway, so this story was a lot about, you know, ego, money, and a lot of things like that. So what an incredible drama in Gucci. Just to quote, to finalize the story, she said, if I could see Mauricio again, I will tell him that I love him, because he's the person that mattered the most to me in my life. Wrong! Wrong! Like, why would you do that if it was matter to you? Like, you would let him go with any woman. Jesus. The journalist that interviewed her when she said that, he said, what do you think he would answer back to you? And she said, I think it said the feeling wasn't mutual. Indeed, sad to see the power of money. I think it's all about money that crushed down a family. You know, family business can be amazing, but you need to not forget about what is truly important. And I think they all lost it. Like, they were all driven by the money. Like, you could see, it's not just only Patricia. All of them, basically, they were spoiled with money, and they just wanted that. So I find it very sad to see what money can do. Anyway, let's talk about my top 5 Gucci fragrances. Gucci fragrances are not my best thing. I don't really enjoy them, I have to say. Like, it's not a brand I will go for when I think about a designer fragrance, no. But my idea changed slightly a bit when Gucci changed direction. Back in the 2000, Tom Ford was the fashion director, and it was really that porno chic vibe. Then after, it was redirected by Alessandro Michel, that's got that androgyne vibe for Gucci, really something like geek chic style, and I do really enjoy that, to be fair. I love Tom Ford, but I think for Gucci it was not the best. And also in the fragrance, because they started the Alchemist Garden, which is an exclusive range from Gucci that is for me top notch, and I won't go for the classic. To me, I would directly go to the Alchemist Garden because it really was to have it looks like a little apothecary. It's absolutely stunning. 5 would be Gucci Bloom. I think it's a nice floral fragrance, nicely with a slight warm undertone, nectar kind of vibe. I feel it's kind of a classy floral, like you can't really go wrong. It's not something I would go for like crazy, but I think it's nicely done, and I love the packaging. And it was basically Gucci Bloom, I think, started the change of direction of Gucci. So when that was launched, I was like, whoa, that's different. Number 4, starting from now to talk about the Alchemist Garden. It's only going to be about the Alchemist Garden. If I can give you one thing to describe this collection, the whole collection, it smells slightly vintage, slightly powdery. These are not overpowering scents. These are very classy, very charming. It's very cocooning, silky. There's not something like beast mode in there, absolutely not. If you love this sensitivity, romanticism, I think you're gonna love this, and I really enjoy it personally. It's a midnight stroll. Nearly all the fragrances have been created by Alberto Morillas as well, so great master perfumer. It's an aromatic woody. It's something that is kind of like a green cypress type of vibe. It's quite opulent, this one, to be honest. I feel like sometimes it smells a bit like aftershavey, so more masculine. Absolutely love that. It's covered in incense, so very incensey, very dark. It's nearly like a gothic fragrance to me, and I really love it. It actually really matches Halloween. Number 3 is Eyes of the Tiger, a number vanilla sweet fragrance, but very powdery, much more silky. The amber that I smell that is the most discreet, but because it's very powdery and delicate. It's soft, it's cottony, mixed with a bit of labdanel leathery tone, but it's really discreet. It's such a beautiful amber. Like, I feel like for the one that like the amber but don't want to smell that stickiness and everything. Number 2 is a Chant for the Nymph. So this is the one in the pink bottle. I absolutely love that, honestly, guys. I think it's a Harrods exclusive, so I highly recommend you to have a try. But oh my god, this fragrance is just amazing. It smells tropical, it smells very flowery. It's a lot of tiare flower, frangipani, ylang ylang, vanilla, but it's not overpowering as well, and it doesn't scream, oh, I smell tropical and the sun and blah blah. No, it's something that is quite, again, like very powdery. So it's a tropical scent, flower tropical, really good for the winter. Absolutely stunning. And when I went to the Gucci store in Harrods, they were actually playing with it a lot and layering all the fragrance together, and my god, this fragrance is matching any fragrance you will wear. Layer it. And my number 1, I actually wear it now, is my favorite since I discovered the Alchemist Garden. For me, top 1 is the Voice of the Snake, but that's totally my vibe. This very oriental Arabian style, I would say, fragrance. So it's mainly wood. It's okay, slightly animalic, but it's not something overpowering, overbearing, which I love. A lot of patchouli, saffron, so it smells ultra luxurious but not attacking, quite dark, I would say. That kind of matched my vibe today, actually. Compared to all the oud I smelled, this is probably the classiest one I ever smelled. It's just super classy, honestly. Like, if you wear that, I feel you're ready to go to the ball, or ready in a high-class society like Patricia wanted to do. I hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me in the comments which one are your favorite, and tell me about this story. I'm not sure I said everything correctly, but I've done my research like I could, and I really enjoyed to get to know a bit more about the drama. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more of those videos when we learn about drama, because the fragrance fashion world, there's a lot of drama, and I'm happy to tell you more about them. Have a lovely day, and I will see you very soon. Bye now.